I remember getting a few of these comments over the past year saying that my videos have changed. Like they don't feel as authentic and real and like raw as they used to. And my initial reaction was to be like, yeah, well, I'm not the same person, and maybe I don't want to share these things anymore or whatever. But I think it wasn't until very recently that I realized I can hear my mom outside. No, she went back downstairs for her meeting. Okay, we're good, we're safe. Yeah, I'm living with my parents. I guess more on that in another video, or this video, I don't know. We'll see where this goes. Like, I'm just doing very much train of thought right now, okay? And the fact of the matter is, I have really been scared of just yapping and speaking my truth on the internet, okay? Not to take you on a whole career history, but back when I started making weekly YouTube videos in 2020, honestly, people were like, wow, you're so brave. Well, not immediately, but like down the line, they were like, wow, you're so brave. Like, you just put your thoughts on the internet. And I was like, yeah, what's like, I don't know, just click upload, nothing scary about it. Like, just until I experienced my first wave of like internet hate, not just from like a random man or whatever, like commenting about how I shouldn't cut my hair short or how I should or shouldn't shave, but from people within like my own community that I had built. And I'm not gonna go too into this, but it was maybe like a few years ago, I don't remember, years ago, I'd made a video trying to show or communicate my love for this girl. And yeah, at the time I hadn't come out to my family, she hadn't come out to her family. Like, I was still really just trying to figure things out. And yeah, it wasn't even like the homophobic comments, it was the man, I really like pushed this down until very recently when someone made that comment again. I was like, damn, like I really never talked about it or processed like the fear that it instilled in me. But yeah, there were just so many people bashing me, accusing me of queer baiting, to the point of like Reddit threads, everything. Like, don't worry, I didn't go in and like read all of them because I was like, that would be self-mutiny. But yeah, it made me feel really scared to share and scared to be perceived, to be seen, to accidentally offend someone. Like, I felt like I couldn't speak up for myself, and I felt really scared to, or just not like valid enough to, or not queer enough. And it's not until very recently that I feel like the world has just been going into a place where I've really have to come to terms with my own humanity, in the sense of things that have happened that I don't like soulfully intrinsically align with, but have kind of like numbed myself to a certain extent to be okay with, to keep living as I live, whether that's the animal cruelty and abuse and oppression that I see in the industrial agricultural industry, or genocide. And I don't even know, am I supposed to like say these words on the internet if they get like, this video gets blocked or what? I don't know what the state of things are, because yeah, I feel like it's very censored. And racism, like the way people and the planet and its animals have not been taken care of has been really heart-wrenching. It's been really heartbreaking. And I don't think I've knew how to come to terms with it or build the hope and courage to dream of a better future for all of us until very recently. That gears kind of shifted where I'm like, okay, like I've gone from hopeless to hopeful. Like I feel like I have an action plan. I feel like I know what I can do to make this world a better place, even if it's just me as an individual or with my platform. Like I'm excited to share ways that we can eat more kindly, sustainably, that we can learn about languages and cultures and religions that have been so demonized. You know, I grew up in Canada. A lot of us who grew up in the West, I feel like we grew up with a lot of Islamophobia, like thinking like, oh yeah, Islam, Muslims, or this is a hearing that it's an extreme religion. And even though I didn't grow up in that kind of household, like I also knew nothing about Muslim religion, culture, Middle Eastern culture. And I fear that the lack of knowledge and understanding and empathy towards certain groups of people perpetuate hate and violence, or even the ignorance to it being okay to happen. Like, why do we care more about certain countries being invaded than others? And certain skin colors and types of people being able to stay in America and others are not. Like, I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to a level of ignorance, and the lack of privilege to be exposed to these beautiful cultures and diverse religions and people that are on this planet. So if there's anything that I can do with my platform, because I think a lot of these things that happen on a level of government feel like, oh my God, like how do I stop my tax paying money from being used for like militia and terrible things? You feel like, oh, I can't do anything. But I think as individuals, we can create more love in our community for people, for all people. And I think that is actually like a really radical step forward to start cultivating hope rather than hopelessness, and to start dreaming of like a better future where we feel the pain for our fellow like brothers and sisters on the opposite side of the globe, even if they come from a different religion, a different cultural background than we do. Just let me collect my I guess what I want to say is that, yeah, I want to stop being scared to dream of a better future. And like when things started happening, yeah. I say things, but like, I feel like I'm almost scared to name what's happening, because I know it'll also trigger other people. like what's happening in Gaza and Palestine, yeah, it's really painful. It's really upsetting. And at the same time, I see how Israeli folks, there are folks who, yeah, also feel very like triggered or scared when when people say free Palestine, or even from like the rise of anti-Semitism, like in New York City. And what I'm saying, I just don't, that's not what I'm condoning or like that I want. I don't know how to say this. I guess the best way that I can say that this is, I learned about Palestine, I learned about Zionism through Jewish folks. Like before all of this blew up and before it was so talked about in the media, I want to say like pre-pandemic, yeah, I learned about this through, yeah, folks that were Jewish. And so I don't know, I don't think hating on another group of people helps the group that a government or state or like white supremacy and capitalism are trying to get rid of. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I think as someone with a platform, you definitely feel the pressure to speak up and share all these posts that you see on Instagram. And if you're not, like, people will be like, hey, why aren't you sharing? Like, you're not supporting and stuff. And I like get that people want other people they watch with a platform to share, to say something. But I think, you know, at the time when I did start sharing stats and pictures and all these things, it actually did feel really performative. And I stopped at one point because I feel like I didn't take the time to actually think about how I can make a difference in the world that feels tangible to me. Like, yes, I think it's important to share information, but also it wasn't giving me hope and it wasn't helping me see any light at any end of the tunnel, like donating to funds that would get stolen and not, or barricaded. And yeah, I really needed the time to think about what I could do in my own life, because yeah, people are dying. I don't even think I would have come to this realization of how I really want to do the best that I can to uplift other marginalized communities that, you know, I really care about and feel connected to. If it weren't for a lot of the people in my life that had these conversations with me, because I think it does really require a lot of discussion to process our own feelings. And yeah, I think even dating my partner who is Arab and was born and raised in Saudi before he came to Canada. And just, I don't know, noticing certain things that he would bring up, I don't think it made me realize how much Middle Eastern folks like don't get their own recognition. Like, sure, we can say we love like Middle Eastern food and stuff, but even when like AAPI month rolls around, I was like, whoa, like Asian only really in the Western English language only connotes to like East Asian, South Asian folks. I feel like Central Asian folks, West Asian folks, yeah, I don't know, they don't get their time to shine or like to get recognized because not all, but a lot of Middle Eastern folks are white passing. And yeah, that's something that I asked him about. I was like, do you see yourself as white? Because a lot of people would say like, oh, you're white. But then to him, like, he doesn't see himself as that, because I think when we say white in America, it's very like, oh, black and white. It's very about this like culture of being white. And I don't think a lot of Europeans don't like relate to this white culture, but I don't know. I guess it's a very like American language to just give people colors. But yeah, it made me realize, I'm like, damn, I feel like there just aren't as many opportunities and celebrations for y'all to be seen and for your language and your culture and religion to be heard and celebrated. Like, you don't have to share the same religion or the same holidays, but it's cool to get celebrated. Like, I feel that as someone who is Chinese and immigrated to Canada and also experienced a lot of like xenophobia growing up, and even in my time studying abroad in Europe. Like, I see how the rise of Red Note made more people just like aware of Chinese culture and what China is like outside of its government, that made me feel a lot more seen. And like, I don't know, my Uber driver was like, yeah, like, oh, you guys are going there, like, whoa, that's so cool, like, I wish I could visit. And like, there's a sense of pride in that where I'm like, yeah, like, there are so many freaking cool things about China that I feel like I never really got to celebrate because the Western government is like so keen on bashing China because they don't vibe with the government and they don't align with that. But it's like, why do people and their culture have to suffer because of that? You know, it's like, I don't think we should look at a country's government and its people as the same thing, is what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. This is like not very coherent, I realize, and it's quite rambly, but that's just something that's been on my mind. I don't even know if I'm gonna post this or not, but it's certainly a late night ramble. I might post, I might delete it later, but it's just something that's been on my mind. Yeah. But honestly, like, I'm feeling really hopeful. My boyfriend is like, I'm so not hopeful. I was like, I really want to donate to this fund. And he was like, no, don't. It's just gonna get blocked. And I was like, oh. And actually, fast forward like literally a day later, it got blocked. And I was like, the Israel state literally intercepted them. And I was like, oh my God. you were right. But also, we cannot give up to hopelessness. We need to cultivate hope and recognize that we can't change the law and the state in this day, this week, or this month, but we can take part in uplifting people and their culture and yeah, bear witness to their suffering and their loss, and don't make it to be for nothing. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know. I feel like, well, the voice in my head is like, oh, you're probably still gonna offend people from how you say things and whatnot. So, yeah, letting you know in advance, I'm sorry. It's not my intention. And it is like a really painful, sensitive topic. So, like, yeah, I'm very open to holding space for any of your frustration or pain that you feel. Just know that, yeah, I'm not here to try and say anything that hurts you, and I'm definitely an imperfect human that has I have my own level of ignorance and things that I don't know, so please, yeah, don't feel afraid to educate me, but also please don't bash me. Yeah, I'm open to receiving constructive criticism. Oh, there's a bug in my room. Sometimes I just like to have my windows open without any, bug netting, because I find it so ugly. And in Europe, people don't usually have like the bug nets. They just keep their windows open, and if bugs come in, they just come in, and it's like chill. So that's what inspired this, but I do want to escort this bug off my pillow and outside. Oh, it doesn't. Wow, it like went on my hand and then flew away. My hand was that icky to it. Okay, well, I guess we can just be roomies for the night. You can fly out tomorrow morning. Yeah. Alright, that's all. I love you guys. I know times are tough right now, but I love you, and I'm ready to be here on the interwebs with more presence and frequency to cheer you on. Yeah. Alright, that's all. I'm gonna go to bed now. It's 10:47. Bye.